Not so long ago, at the Blancpain family home, Luc, the father, would record his favorite shows on VHS tapes.
Bonjour.
The mother, Martine, would put her family photos in a nice album. And Laurent, their son, listened to rock on his new Walkman. These were the 80s. All these objects gradually disappeared. In the 2000s, Laurent began uploading music files onto his smartphone, and Martine uploaded photos onto her computer's hard disk.
Je pense que c'est quand même un progrès phénoménal par rapport à l'album photo, au point d'ailleurs que toutes nos photos sont maintenant numérisées.
And then, 10 years later, a new revolution. Music and pictures are no longer stored on devices, but far, far away and accessible at the speed of light through the internet.
Ça m'est arrivé du bout du monde d'avoir accès à mes photos. Et quand je dis le bout du monde, c'était le Rajasthan l'année dernière, ou bon, ça peut être le Mexique. C'est quand même fantastique, effectivement, et léger.
So, if the songs and pictures have left our hard disks, where are they now? They're in what we call the cloud, a poetic name that refers to the internet's latest revolution, long-distance storage. Actually, thousands of warehouses hosting millions of cabinets, keeping billions of megabytes of data. And it's not only our photos. What does our cloud look like? Do we really own what we upload on it? Are we the only ones that have access to it? We try to unveil the mystery that still surrounds this innovation. The first time we heard about the cloud was on our smartphones, when we first saw this little pictogram. We were asked whether we agreed to send music from our devices to the cloud. Being a bit wary, we first refused, but then, update after update, as the software insisted, we gave in. This phone is now in contact with the cloud, God knows where, a cloud capable of hosting a lot of music and picture files, as well as all the contacts in our address book. Same with our touchscreen tablets. The cloud, a solution for our mobile devices. Well, not exclusively. Our personal computers sometimes connect to it as well. Meet Stephanie, a smart young woman, as she just got out of bed.
Tout ce qu'il me faut, c'est un accès pour me connecter.
In the morning, she shares music with her best friend on her PC. They write music together from a distance, and they work on it in turn. Their mailbox is called Dropbox.
C'est mieux qu'un disque dur, parce que si tu veux, un disque dur, c'est un espace de stockage qui est limité à un moment donné.
Since her files are too large for her computer, Stephanie uploads them to remote servers. One could think the cloud is a huge storehouse for internet experts. Well, not only for them. Next, Stephanie checks her emails, just like we do every morning.
Là, je me connecte à ma messagerie.
And her emails also come from the cloud.
C'est-à-dire que c'est stocké ailleurs, quelque part, sur un nuage. Ça veut dire que je peux y avoir accès n'importe où. Que ce soit sur mon ordinateur, que ce soit sur mon téléphone, que ce soit à mon bureau.
And then, on her way to work, Stephanie does what millions of people do. She takes a picture.
Voilà, donc là, je publie.
She posts it on Instagram, Flickr, and Facebook. The cloud takes part in our most trivial actions. This continues at the office. Stephanie works in a communications firm. The software she uses is not connected to a private server, but to the cloud. Schedules, ongoing projects, mail. In one morning, Stephanie has connected to 24 clouds. We thought the skies were clear, with barely a cloud or two. When in fact, All of these websites and apps with logos we know so well store our data up in the sky.
C'est un peu mon quotidien, c'est un peu ma vie, c'est un peu des bouts de vie, des bouts de ma vie, donc c'est un peu mon identité que je mets sur le cloud.
Clouds which know everything about her and which she logs onto with a password. On Facebook, you enter it almost every time you connect. Same on Dropbox or your mailbox. But sometimes, to get access to your cloud, no one asks you anything. Take your mobile device's software, the one with the pictogram. It only asks once if you accept to transfer the data to the cloud. Afterwards, you could almost forget this data has left your phone's memory and exists without it. Malo is 18. He lives in Fréjus and often eats in fast food restaurants. Sometimes he's a little scattered, as on this particular day last August.
J'ai laissé mon portable sur le côté, sur le rebord du comptoir. Et sans faire attention, je me suis fait piquer quoi, sur le... Tu revenais d'où Je revenais de la plage, j'étais en maillot, du coup j'avais pas de poche.
Following the theft, he blocks his phone's account and presses charges at the police station. Up to this point, nothing really new. But a few weeks later, he notices something strange when checking his tablet.
Je remarque qu'il y a des photos d'une personne que je connais pas qui atterrissent sur ma tablette.
More than 200 pictures have been added to his photo library, often from the same person, a teenager.
Des photos de lui, des photos de ses amis, de ce qu'il fait. En y réfléchissant un peu plus, j'ai compris que c'était la personne qui avait mon ancien portable. Voilà.
The thief, or the person who bought the phone from him, forgot to log out of the cloud, to which Malo still has access via his tablet. Malo could have investigated using these pictures, but he didn't feel the need to. His insurance paid for a new smartphone. So, in conclusion, you have to make your cloud secure, as it can be accessed from multiple points. By the way, where exactly is this cloud? And how does it work? The answer lies in the data centers, huge warehouses that are internet sanctuaries. In France, there are 130 of them. In this one, Arnaud is in charge of hosting. He's both the chief administrator and the chief maintainer of the cloud. He manages 70 people.
On est au cœur du cloud. Sur 2 ou 3 armoires comme celle-là, on peut stocker plusieurs pétaoctets de données, des milliards de photos, des milliards de vidéos, des milliards de musiques.
And when you pay your taxes, for example, this is where you find your declaration. When you check your bank account, it's at the end of another cable. On the whole, 40,000 companies, mostly French, but some also foreign, rent cabinets, that is, pieces of the cloud, in this data center.
Le nuage, au final, c'est des infrastructures physiques, réelles, c'est des vrais ordinateurs. C'est des gens qui vont les mettre en production, c'est des équipes qui vont tourner H24 pour gérer la maintenance de ces ordinateurs.
Among the tenants of this data center is Deezer, a world-famous French online music service. Vladimir is an engineer there. He tells us that Deezer has uploaded a huge catalog of songs to the cloud, which fits in a few machines.
Voilà. Donc, ce sont ici que sont stockés les 30 millions de titres de Deezer. Donc, dès qu'un utilisateur va vouloir une musique, ça va passer par ces câbles qui sont reliés à Internet. Et on va envoyer tout ça directement à l'utilisateur pour qu'il écoute. Il faut savoir qu'ici, il y a les 30 millions de titres, ce qui représente pas loin de 2 millions d'albums.
But what becomes of these 2 million albums if there's a fire or a bug? Well, they won't be lost because there are copies stored on the other side of the world. It's the basic principle of the cloud: automatic duplication in other data centers. It also allows users to connect much faster.
Ces 30 millions de titres qui sont derrière, ils sont aussi copiés à New York, à Singapour et à Sydney. Et donc l'utilisateur, quand il va vouloir écouter sa musique, il va se connecter au data center le plus proche. Donc s'il est en zone européenne, il va se connecter directement ici. S'il est plutôt en Inde, il va se connecter par exemple à Sydney.
Thanks to this duplication system, the cloud, loaded with our data, is always there wherever we are. Well, almost. Let's go to Washington, D.C., to a prestigious university. James O'Donnell is waiting for us in the library. This teacher will never again trust the cloud with his ebooks.
I'd like to think that this is my library and I carry it around the world with me and I can read my books. But I've realized that I'm really reading somebody else's books that they're letting me use.
Last August, he had to give a lecture in Singapore. He was counting on the books he bought online, placed on the cloud and uploaded on his tablet. He takes a flight. Once he's there, he wants to prepare for his lecture.
I opened the iPad and I discovered that Google Play would not show me my books because I was in Singapore. They do not have contracts with every country in the world to display their books in every country, and if they don't have an active contract, they just don't allow at all. Out of the field of vision.
Actually, the books were erased from his tablet, and he can't get access to the cloud. It almost ruins his lecture. Back in Washington, a second surprise. He's unable to download some of the books he lost because he tried to do it from Singapore. Today, he is still having trouble getting them back. So it seems that what you put on the cloud can vanish at any moment.
There are other companies that sell ebooks, and we're now much more dependent on them staying in business and making money. If Amazon goes out of business, I would expect that all of my Kindle books will just go poof and disappear and never be available.
Terms of use, one of the main tricks of the cloud. Hugo is a young lawyer and internet activist. He loves reading the fine print.
En cliquant sur inscription, vous acceptez nos conditions et indiquez que vous avez lu notre politique d'utilisation des données.
A policy that can sometimes be very surprising. On Apple's cloud, for example, where you store your pictures, there's this.
Le contenu peut être supprimé à tout moment, sans préavis et à l'entière discrétion de Apple.
To put it plainly, if your documents are deemed inappropriate, they can be erased, and that's too bad for you.
On n'est pas chez soi. On est chez Apple. C'est Apple qui contrôle, c'est Apple qui définit les règles du jeu.
Unfortunately, to find out about those controversial conditions, you really have to love reading.
Il y a 3 documents importants à lire quand on s'inscrit sur les services d'Apple. Pris ensemble, ils font plus de 30 000 mots. C'est l'équivalent de lire Tartuffe et les fourberies de Scapin d'un coup.
And when the cloud's servers are attacked, this can cause a lot of damage. Alexander knows something about this. He works in a startup that creates sports-related smartphone apps. The most recent one tells you which judo fighter has the best chance of winning a fight. A month ago, Alexander tried to pull off a stunt to present the app to the public at an international event, the Judo Junior World Championship.
Nous, on avait plein de personnes qui étaient sur place au championnat du monde, donc avaient été réquisitionnées pour faire venir en Italie, pour saisir toutes les statistiques, pour les diffuser sur grand écran, pour les envoyer aux entraîneurs, pour les envoyer à la presse. Donc c'était vraiment un logiciel qui était très officiel finalement.
But things don't go as planned.
Donc la compétition était un samedi, et on s'est réveillé le samedi matin, et il n'y a plus rien qui marchait.
The app is out of order. The Canadian cloud hosting it was attacked by hackers. Even the backup copies were rendered unusable. The media stunt ends in a fiasco. and Alexander's startup is almost ruined.
En termes de chiffre d'affaires concret sur un mois de clients, c'est effectivement entre 100 et 200 000 euros perdus. Mais les répercussions que ça a pour tous les contrats qu'on n'a pas finalement conclus, tous les clients qui sont mécontents, etc., c'est plusieurs centaines de milliers d'euros de répercussions. Et pour une start-up qui a beau être en croissance, mais qui reste une start-up donc fragile, ça met en péril finalement la vie d'une société, la vie d'employés. Tout ça pourquoi ? Parce que finalement la technologie du cloud n'était pas aussi sécurisée qu'on l'espérait, quoi.
These last few months, the cloud has ended up in some very dark skies. The biggest spying scandal in history, the Snowden case. 30-year-old Edward Snowden was a computer scientist at the NSA, America's intelligence agency. Last June, he began to disclose the methods of his former colleagues. Since then, he's been hiding in Russia.
Any analyst at any time can target anyone. I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
Watching everyone has been made possible thanks to the cloud. Since 2007, a program has allowed the NSA to interfere in the clouds of foreigners like you and me, clouds that are hosted by American companies. Prism, that's the name of the program, is in fact a very powerful search engine. It is said to have access to the data of Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Facebook, with the consent of these companies, whose headquarters are in the USA. They signed a secret deal with the NSA for the purpose of fighting terrorism. The program complies with American laws and is controlled by judges specializing in intelligence.
Even if you're not doing anything wrong, you're being watched and recorded. You don't have to have done anything wrong. You simply have to eventually fall under suspicion from somebody, even by a wrong call, and then they can use the system to go back in time and scrutinize every decision you've ever made, every friend you've ever discussed something with, and attack you on that basis.
And the citizens that the NSA can spy on under the PRISM deals can be of any nationality except American. The agency has no mandate to do so. In the end, as this cartoon by a French-American collective shows, the data that European web surfers, for example, put on various clouds can be checked by all sorts of curious people. In this satirical cartoon, what you write on Twitter is watched by Twitter. What you post on Facebook is watched by Facebook. As for Google, they can send your data straight into the hands of the NSA, which then stores it. Basically, your cloud gets a lot of attention. This is somewhat detrimental to the reputation of the American cloud. After the Snowden revelations, the sector could lose up to 25 billion euros. Europe, for example, is already repatriating some data. And if you want to keep it safe in a double-locked cloud, if you're looking for a nice, sturdy vault, then what you need is in Zurich, Switzerland. The champions of bank secrecy are moving to digital secrecy, like this computer analyst who had the good idea.
It is a data haven, if you will. Switzerland forms a rather large data haven. This is one of many data centers in Switzerland, and there are being new ones built every day almost.
Georg created a cloud that's ultra-secure and is supposed to escape the NSA's prying eyes. It's a mail service which also stores your files and schedules. As in most clouds, the data is duplicated in other data centers, but this time they're all located in Switzerland. Since the Snowden case came to light, Georg claims he has 7 times more customers.
Here or in this data center or the other, but I'm sure they will be in Switzerland. Yes. We guarantee you that your data your emails are 100% in Switzerland. We will never, ever put data outside of Switzerland for the simple reason that it would make us very vulnerable.
Because in Switzerland, private data is particularly protected. But what can the law do against foreign spies?
Yes, there is secret services in Switzerland. There is people spying in Switzerland, of course. We have the United Nations here, lots of banks. the NSA operates in Switzerland. We're absolutely certain of that. At the same time, there is no legal pathway for them to the data. So they would have to break in, they would have to violate the law in order to get the data, which, you know, is actually for them also a problem.
In short, according to Georg, the NSA would never break the law of a foreign country to steal data. But we're going to see that the US agency allows itself to bend the rules a little. At the end of October, a new twist in the Snowden case. The former agent reveals an explosive document, an internal post-it note. It shows that the NSA doesn't just use the PRISM search engine, it also connects to Google's cloud, this time without their knowledge, and secretly vacuums up data exchanged between the data centers.
Hello.
Hello there, Nicholas. How are you?
We met with Bill Binney, a former official at the NSA, where he spent 32 years.
I see.
We asked him to decipher this post-it note, and in particular, the little smiley face at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I see it, yeah. That probably says that they have that, whatever encryption or things they're doing there, they're also removing it. So
it is like a game?
Yeah. So they're doing this without anybody's knowledge.
Even better, those illegal actions reportedly took place outside of US territory, most probably in a data center used by Google in Great Britain. NSA agents apparently don't mind plugging in their cables on foreign territory.
The only advice I could give to people using cloud services is that there's not too much you can do about that. If you want to keep something private, then don't put it on the cloud. You know, if you're gonna do that, you have to do it with the understanding that other people are also looking, not necessarily people, but certainly software is going through looking at certain things. You are being watched.
If you're not on the cloud and don't have the internet, do you escape that global surveillance? You can end up on the cloud without even knowing it, and we're going to show you how. In New York, a large-scale experiment began in September 2012. To manage the whole city using the cloud, and, thanks to its main advantage, its enormous storage capacity, to host all sorts of information. Putting all of New York in the cloud is the feat of one city councilor, Michael Flowers, a renowned lawyer specializing in data collection. He gathered the best analysts in the country. When they began, the team realized that they were sitting on a treasure trove of information.
If you really think about it, we pick up your trash, we manage your building, we just inspected that you were with the fire department. We know what water comes out of your tap when you turn it on. We regulate the utilities that turn the lights on, right? We know how the parking volume out in front. We know what kind of boiler you have.
By its source and the agency.
Have it routinized into DataBridge.
So there's no dynamic flow.
Exactly.
The fire department knows what the police department knows, what the buildings department knows, what the finance department knows. You now know the interconnectedness of all things within the city in a way that we never could before.
On Center Street.
So many services which can investigate you thanks to all of this information, and this doesn't stir any controversy. In the USA, there is no data protection and no privacy commission. So what exactly do these agents know about the citizens of New York? Sohaib is a programmer of New York's cloud. We gave him the address of the building. A name appears.
Here we can see this guy's found as the owner, so let's see, maybe he owns something else. So it looks like he's connected to this building also. So he shares an address with this person, and we could find out anything else we need to about her. So it looks like, yeah, we see in our Pluto records, she has some information also.
A software capable of identifying couples. Sohaib can even find out if they're behind on their tax payments. The secret of New York's cloud is the ability to cross-check data and to make it talk.
If they own any property, if they have a violation against them, if they have a license or a permit. So we're not out there grabbing information from people. It's basically whatever people have given us. Even if you've gotten a parking ticket, you know, you're in the system now. You've done something to
be on the grid. So we have that information, and then we can use that to kind of link up with whatever other information that might be useful about you that you've given to the city.
Park somewhere illegally, and your name appears in New York City's cloud. When you know that 100,000 parking tickets are issued each week, that's a lot of people, and they're not just web surfers. New York's experiment has generated a lot of interest in the world. Programmers will soon come to France to present their MegaCloud project to the Prime Minister's office. So, here's a piece of advice. If in the future you're afraid of being followed, don't look behind you or even in front of you, but look above.